everybody, I'm Anna Kachikian, and this is the Anna Report, where every Wednesday I sit with you guys and we discuss dating and relationships. And this week's topic is bad habits that perhaps we should all break, but I'm solely going to focus on men because according to my Facebook and Twitter and Periscope analytics, I've got a 90% male audience, so I'm talking to you guys. I'd love to hear the women's opinions and their input, so welcome all. I'm having a Stella. What are you guys having? And I have a story about this cup. Okay, can you guys see this Stella has my name on it, like full Anna Kachikian name, literally printed on the Stella cup. Now, one would think that I recently got this cup because I love Stella and I keep drinking Stella on the show. But no, this cup was sent to me back when I worked at TMZ, and we weren't allowed to receive, freebies and gifts while working there. And so when companies would send us things without even us knowing, it was frowned upon, really. So I remember I got this cup, I didn't know what it was, and I got a package. They delivered the package to my desk, and I opened it. I was like, oh boy, what is this, right? And I open it and I'm like, oh, it's a beer cup. I have to, give it away to the production office. And then I look, I'm like, wait a minute, it has my name on it. I'm like, you know what? No one's taking this cup. I'm taking this cup home. This is mine. And at the time, I wasn't really a big beer drinker. What was I drinking back then, Mom? Stupid drinks like a martini. Yeah, like a mojito, martini, margarita. I wasn't really like a beer person. I was, but now I love it. So I'm so happy I held on to my cup. So thank you, Stella. Whoever at Stella Artois sent me this personalized cup, thank you. I love it. All right. So yeah, and my week, my week has been so hectic. What did I do? Yes, I got hypnotized again. And some of you are so skeptical as far as like hypnotism goes, but really when you shift your perspective on hypnosis and you look at it as as far as like going to a therapist, I can say it's worked for me because I'm afraid of flying, and so I went in, I tried it, and it worked. When I flew to Utah from LA, I was like completely fine. And then recently I was flying back from Vegas and I got a little like weird, and I'm like, this needs maintenance. This isn't like, one-time thing. I had to go and get it again because I'm gonna be flying again. I gotta try it. So the topic today is bad habits that guys need to break as far as dating goes. I learned a lot researching during this topic, and I thought it was so relevant because I recently finished the book High Performance Habits by Brendan Bouchard. Great book, by the way. Not relevant for everyone, extremely relevant for me. And I applied a lot of things to the Anna Report and dating men and women and all of those. And so there's a lot of that I'm gonna share with you guys as well. Edo says cheers. Cheers, you guys. Stella, when is Stella gonna start paying me? Seriously. I mean, how often do you guys feel like you want to drink a Stella after you see me drinking it? It's delicious. To the topic, by the way, I welcome your commentary. I welcome your opinions on this, especially from you guys. First question right off the bat, what parts of traditional dating do you miss the most? Warren says dating for marriage. Oh, I love that, Warren. Scott says I haven't been on a date since high school. Scott, I hope you're 19. Nick says cheap dates, those don't exist anymore. That's not true. I disagree with you. Then you're going out with the wrong girls or asking the wrong women out. Johnny says I miss the honesty. Gino says I agree, dating for marriage. To share a little bit of my personal opinion, I agree with you guys. I agree that I miss the concept of dating for marriage too, because I think the second if I were on a date, a guy mentions marriage, it kind of freaks me out. And I know that if I were to ever mention marriage on a first date or second, third, fifth, I know it would freak the man out too. And maybe it shouldn't freak us out. Maybe it should only freak us out if we're 16, 15, 18. But I think if you're an adult, 25 and over, Why shouldn't you be dating for marriage? Telling a girl you love them on a first date too soon? Yes. Don't do that. Do not do that. Are we discussing courtship tonight? We're discussing bad habits, okay? So first bad habit right off the bat, I want to dive right into it, is people trying to get to know someone before they even meet them. It's so easy, right? You meet them online, you have a friend who says there's this really cute girl I want you to meet, you look them up on Facebook, you look at what sort of posts they've posted. Maybe you're an Eagles fan and she's posting about the Patriots the year before or throughout the season. Maybe you saw photos from her from high school doing a beer bong. Is that what it's called? Pong? Beer? Shit, I don't even know. I'm having beer, I don't know what it's called. But anyway, you know, salacious photos of her that you are just automatically as a man are like, she's that kind of girl, she's not marriage material, and you start to put judgment on a person that you haven't even met. Here's the thing though, you can be the most open-minded, you can be the most honest, loyal, amazing person in the world. It's a natural human behavior to still somewhat judge and be like, I don't know. One of the biggest factors in 2017 that people before meeting, like on online dating, oh, you're a Trump supporter? We're not talking. Right off the bat, you pass judgment. You're like, next, right? We throw people away because it means so much to us. It's a natural human, like, pass judgment kind of behavior. Mike says, I'm guilty of judging too early. Trust me, I'm guilty as well. Guilty. So it's very easy to do that. Or you look on Facebook or whatever, and you see mutual friends, and you call Bob and you go, hey, you know, I just asked this girl out. I noticed you're mutual friends. What do you think? And Bob goes, oh yeah, she gave me a blowjob 10 years ago. Okay, awkward. But for women, I feel like for women it's a little different, I want to say, because I want to protect the women. I want to protect the women. I want to make sure that they are doing their research on someone before going out with them, because there are so many, I'm sorry you guys, but there's so many crazy fucking guys out there who are rapists. I want the men and the women to do a little bit of research and make sure, or even, I don't know, tell someone where you're going, who you're gonna be with. Just be a little cautious when you're meeting a stranger. And is it okay for a guy to fart on a date? Don't even get me started on farting. See, she's like sighing. She's like, oh, whoever asked that question, here we go. She's gonna start talking about farting now. Gino says, can't know about a book before you read it, right? 100%. Don't jump to conclusions and pass judgment before the date. Just go on that date. And here's the thing, this is why I always tell you guys, is pay for the first date. But go easy, dude. Just go easy. Because if you're trying to wow every single girl, and if you're going on 3 dates a week, that's a lot of money. Take it easy. But here's the thing, okay? When I say take it easy, I'm kind of contradicting myself. And here's how I feel like I'm contradicting myself is if we love the traditional way where the man, you know, asks her out and does the whole thing, like, it's like ask her out on a date, right? Instead of saying, let's hang out. Let's hang out is like, let's have sex. Let's go on a date is like, I want to marry you. Does that make sense? So if you say let's go on a date, you think you have to spend a lot of money. But no, you literally could go to a park and take a couple of Kind bars and some juice and call it a date. By the way, I've had that date. Amazing. Had a great time. I was like in college. Great date. It worked. What I'm saying is it doesn't have to be expensive, but if you want to have the traditional dating, like that feel, ask her out on a date. Lead the way versus saying, you know, you want to hang out. I don't like you want to hang out. When a guy says you want to hang out, I'm like, let me look at my calendar. Nope, I'm busy. When he says you want to go on a date, I'm like, okay, this is a thing, right? And if I don't want to go on a date with you, you're gonna know, which is a good thing, right? Because that brings me to my fear of rejection, which is a really terrible dating habit. We fear rejection, but why don't you just accept the fact that not everyone is your cup of tea? The sooner you find out, the sooner you're gonna get to the one. She's doing you a favor if you ask her on a date and she says no. Now, if you say you wanna hang out, she's gonna be like, oh, yeah, and then you wanna take her out on a date. I don't know, I don't like it. I don't like it. Versus when you say date, you're very clear, you wanna court her, you like her, and she says no, that's awesome. She doesn't like you. Which is great. You're not gonna waste time, you're not gonna waste money, you're gonna find the one sooner. Ralph says, what about the in-between? What's the in-between? Hey, do you wanna go to dinner? Is that the in-between? You wanna go on a date? Do you wanna go to dinner? I feel like if somebody says you wanna go to dinner, that's a date. Cause I've been to business dinners though. In between date and hang out. Yeah, but what is that? Maybe that's why we're trying to find the in-between to play it safe versus just like, I like you, I want to take you on a date. I don't like you, I just want to hang out with you, and so we can just have sex. Friend zone. There's no in-between. I think that the in-between is the safe place, and that's where things are becoming frustratingly confusing for both men and women. Because we're trying to play it safe, right? We're trying to play it cool. We're afraid of that rejection. Dinner equals date. Correct. I 100% agree with you. My next thing was I was gonna say the communication. It always comes back to communication. Hold on, Hector has a comment. Anna, you can't be afraid of rejection. For example, you will never know what is behind the door if you simply throw hints, but why not turn the knob and see for yourself? Just don't be afraid of the rejection. I think that guilty, again, we feel bad I'm the girl, right? So I feel bad telling a guy no. And I think that men feel bad telling the girl no when they're not interested. And so we just do this like politically correct back and forth, which you're just extending the pain. You're just pushing the pain and you're lingering on, sweeping it under the rug. It doesn't work. Gino says could also be a bad thing as well. That's the thing. I don't want it to be a bad thing. I have a story. So I had a guy once really liked me, but I was like, oh, let me fill it out, right? Like being very careful. He was trying to get to know me. And then he asked me what I thought of marijuana and the law in California starting January 1st, like what I thought of it. I had voted on it already, that, I wanted the law to pass. So I was like, yeah, I voted on it. And then he was like, well, I use it, I sell it, all of it. And it's around me, so I need a woman who's gonna be okay with it. And I thought, dang, this guy's honest, right? So I liked it. Like that was almost like a turn on. He was so honest. And then I'm like, wait. But am I that girl? Am I gonna be okay with it? And then I thought, no, I'm not. So I said, I'm not that girl. I'm not, like, you can't, I don't want to smell it. I don't want to be around it. It's not my thing. And it was so honest. And we were both like, oh, that didn't work. Bye. But we're like, we're cool. And it's totally fine. Because he wants to get married. He wants to continue working in that industry. Amen to you, dude. It's not my thing. It's not my thing, and my thing isn't your thing. Goodbye. Yosha says, they think we have to spend a lot to show how much we are interested. If you are going out with that type of woman, you are entertaining the wrong kind of woman. John says, why not? It's a legit business now. 100% agree with you. If you want to be in that business, I completely support it. I just can't be around it myself. I really, the smell of it is like having cigarettes. So I don't like the smell of it. It's like saying, I don't like to smell cigarettes. Mark says, I respect Anna's wish to be pro 420 and not be around it. 100%. I honestly, it's a great business. I'd probably get into it one day. I think it's gonna do wonders in the beauty industry. I think it's gonna be great for your hair, your skin. I'm all for it. I just don't let me smell it. So what are you saying? You prefer a non-smoker? Yes, 100%. Like a zero smoker. You can't smoke at all. Cigarettes, pot, whatever, like no smokers. Steven says, spending a lot of money on all the women you date tends to lead them to always use and abuse you. See, here's the thing. Don't think of it that far off. I think you have to think of it as, I need to date so I know what I'm looking for. So in order for me to date, I need to be strategic about how I'm going to spend my time, who I'm going to spend my time, and how I'm going to spend my money. Be fun, be spontaneous. And have a budget, you know, have an intention when you're moving forward. Stephen has a good question. He says, no flowers on a first date. I think flowers on a first date is a little cheesy, but here's the thing. Depends on where you live. If you live in the city, it's cheesy. If you live in a more rural area where you have a garden and it's springtime and you've got your roses or whatever, right? Your flower, and you just literally cut it up and like brought it to her and said, this is for my garden, aren't they beautiful and they smell great? Nice. That's a nice touch. Perfect. The other thing is, so you guys are far more visual beings than us women. And what does it mean by visual? So you are driven a lot by our photos. So if you're on a dating app and you see photos of women, they can really mess you up. They can really mislead you because of Photoshop these days. And that is very scary. Photos can be very misleading, and then you mix that up with men who are visual creatures. You have to be careful. You have to just bring it back to rational. You have to bring it back to rational and to be like, that is a very obvious Photoshop job. You know, let's say you are a boobs guy. You just love boobs. And you're looking at the photos and you're like, those look Photoshopped. I think she Photoshopped her boobs to make them look bigger. And then you go on the date and she's a size A, but then in her photo she had a size D boobs. And you're just like, oh my God, I came out with her because I wanted big boobs, right? And so you have to be careful because the photos can be misleading online. Or another thing is when a woman is really hot, like that you're really attracted to, you're like, holy shit, this chick is hot. And then you ask her out on a date and she says yes. And then you begin to literally like idolize her before you even go on the date. So you have to be really careful you don't do that either. So again, visually, two things. Be careful with the Photoshop and be careful if she's way hot and you just idolize the shit out of her and then you get on the date and you don't really genuinely treat her the way that you normally would treat another human being. Some ways that you guys tend to do that is you agree. You agree with everything she says. We don't like that. I keep telling you guys that. We don't like it. Don't agree. All right, let's talk about sex. Your obsession with sex. Not your obsession, but our obsession with sex these days. You know, where it's like, well, why didn't she invite me back in? Or she says, why didn't he sleep with me tonight? Relax! Chill! It's not about sex, right? We're trying to find someone you marry. And when you marry her, you guys can have sex all the time. There's two different kinds of dates that you go on. There's the hanging out and then there's the date. The date, you want to get to know her on a deeper level. You truly are you're not interested in diving into bed with her. You want to get to know her. The other thing is you just hang out and your intentions are have a good time, sex or no sex involved, but you have to be honest about it. You have to just say, listen, I'm looking to hook up. Sometimes I see, so for research purposes, I'm always scrolling and looking at what guys write in their bios. I'm obsessed with reading bios on dating apps. It is, I have a collection of bios, okay? Some are phenomenal. Like, they're so good, I will swipe right just to tell them I love their bio. Some, I'm like, what the? Did you forget to use your words? And you're just writing, like, literally it's emojis. Writing a sentence with emojis. Or there's the guy who's straight up like new to LA, looking to hook up, nothing serious. And I'm like, amen, bro. Amen. Love you. Love your honesty. I love it. Because if I'm into that, I'm going to swipe right and I'm going to show up at your house with a bag of condoms. So be honest. The rules are if you spend $80 on somebody, you better give it up. Why $80? You can't even get dinner for $80. Where are you going? Well, okay, I don't know where you are. That's not fair. In LA, $80 will not get you dinner. I shouldn't say that. That came out really spoiled. But you know what? In my defense, when I go to dinners, depends where in LA. Yeah, exactly. Depends where in LA. I'm thinking if you've got the money and you're like, I want to take this girl out on a date. I really liked her. You actually spent time with her. Like, you met her at an event or a birthday party or something. You guys spent time together, and you have the money and you're like, I want to spend the $150 on a date. Average. A dinner for two? Am I right, you guys? Dinner for two. It's like 120. Trust me, that's a lot of money. Which is why I tell you guys, don't do dinners. Because if you're doing 1 date a week, max 3 dates a week, if you're doing anything more than that, you're a serial dater. You know, slow down. That's a lot. Warren says you're right. Johnny says, is offering to make dinner on a first date. Don't do that. Don't offer to make dinner for a first date, because I have to come over to your house and I don't know you, and it makes me a little uncomfortable because I'm like, why is he inviting me over? Be in public. Mario says, airplane ticket. Listen, if you have the money, that's a good date. Like, fly for the day somewhere and just fly back. That's a nice date, okay? That's a fun date because then you just kind of remember it, and not just for her, but for you too. Like, oh, like that was a fun time, you know? So that's cool if you have the money. Dave says dinner for two can easily be $100 to $150 a pop at a decent place, but you can easily grab street tacos from a cool place if she's down. That's like $30 max meal. Yes, but if you're saying, I want to take you on a date, and then you take her to a street taco spot, you're making yourself look bad. Versus if you put some thought into it, you ask her out on a date and you actually organize something. I don't know, a walk at the beach, a picnic at the park. That'll cost you $30. Hike plus juice if you're in LA. I mean, it put some thought and effort into the date idea. For example, if you say to a girl like, hey, I made plans for us at, she says, oh, I don't like that place. Don't get butthurt. Like, just be like, wow, I appreciate her honesty. You know, she doesn't like that place. She doesn't want to go there. Like, don't get offended by it. Or someone last week was like, what about bowling? I don't want a guy to get hurt if I find out we're headed to bowling and I don't like bowling. What about concerts? I don't like concerts because it's loud. You don't get to talk. You don't get to know one another. The whole point of a date is to ask them, what's your favorite color? How many siblings do you have? Like the bullshit 101 questions, right? You're not gonna get weird and ask like, what happened to your parents, why did they get a divorce? Like, that's weird. So just like generic Q&A is your first date conversation, and it's very telling. It's very telling about you. Someone a while ago kept saying, like, I keep meeting women who keep saying, oh, I'm focusing on my career, I don't have time, blah, blah, blah. I also had one of my girlfriends tell me, she's in her 30s, and she said, every time I go out, I tend to meet guys in their 20s. The guys in their 30s, they don't really go out. They're like at home working on their business, drinking with their buddies. They don't really go out to meet us women, whereas the women do go out more often than the guys do. And this brought me to a habit that needs to be broken, is the idea of balance. You are never going to be able to focus on your career and then later on focus on your personal life. That mentality needs to literally be hypnotized out of your brain. So go to Hypnoassociates and have Ani do that. You will never find balance in your life. Fuck balance. You think our grandparents had the option of balance? Or, you know, they figured that shit out without Google. Their money, their family, their children, everything. Our grandparents didn't have balance. They did it, they figured it out, they did it. So therefore, I think that idea needs to be flicked off. If you're working on your career, you're working on your business, you can also find a woman and have a relationship, okay? Find your soulmate. Soar together, dude. Find your soulmate and soar together. I love it. Men and women, we're looking for something new and we're looking for something real. But you're never gonna find something real if you don't get real. Once you get real, then you will be able to find that someone new, your soulmate. Someone says, I don't get it. Soulmate? So someone that you soar with, so you soar together, so that person is your soulmate. Mark says, I can't wait to conquer the world with my mate. Mark, you mean your soulmate. Exactly. All right, what was the last thing? The last thing was dating apps. We keep blaming dating apps for the cause of our singleness, but that's an excuse because we are the problem. We are never satisfied. We're always looking for something new. We refuse to commit. These are all personal issues. These are all personal issues. So ask yourself, am I ready to commit? Am I ready to put in the time and work? Am I going to be satisfied? Instead of thinking, oh my God, there's going to be something better out there for me. So you're the problem. And I'm not saying you, I'm saying we are all the problem. So instead of pointing the finger, get real with yourself first. We want to hold on to these traditional values, but yet we don't want to change our habits. And we refuse to recognize, like, hey, I'm refusing to get real with myself. I'm refusing to commit. I'm refusing to be satisfied because I'm still swiping, thinking there's someone hotter and better out there. All right, you guys. Hold on, let me drink. I don't know why, I just heard all of you guys scream, chug, chug, chug. Have a good night. Bye.